Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Joseph. I hope everyone's doing well today. So, I received a request a couple of days ago from a user called Taylor who asked to have me convert the blend mode video thing I did a while ago around managing blend modes into drag and drop. Now, I'm going to be totally honest, I feel like I cheated in this as always. Being drag and drop being the beginner's version of the coded version of Gamemaker, in my opinion. But before I get into it, massive thank you to everyone on the channel. You guys are amazing. Thank you to Taylor for making a request. I enjoy them because it helps me when I don't have any ideas. So, I'm going to run the tutorial so you guys can see what I've done, and then I'll explain why I feel like I've cheated. So, this here is the original tutorial, and if I hit the buttons, as you can see, like before, you can hear my incredibly loud keyboard changing between, and basically I can do everything like the other blend mode, like so. But this is done mostly in drag and drop, but drag and drop doesn't always handle things the way I want them to be handled. It's more a me thing than potentially a drag and drop thing. As I programmed in drag and drop in Gamemaker 8 for maybe 6 months, and then I went straight to programming language because I thought, stuff this is too much of a pain. Okay, let's get into it. Anytime you guys see a execute code, this is me cheating. Okay, this is me. What I'm thinking to myself is cheating. So execute codes, just as a pro tip, is basically Gamemaker programming where you can just take sections of code that, for example, in the other ones I developed, and you should be able to dump them straight in and it should just work, provided all the variables in that line up. So basically, if I wonder if I can make it any bigger to already have limited screen space. What was the key again? F9? No, F. Oh, there we go. Oh, yep, there we go. I've totally ruined my formatting, but it's all good. Okay, so what have I done? So in the original, it was all just programmed in code. So what I've done here is I've set my surfaces as assigned variables, leave relative unchecked because relative means changing. And I've gone through and I've set all the values as what I had done in the execute. In some portions here, I've left as big blocks of execute code. I am not going to sit down and regenerate the arrays in individually assigned variables, because that will take me all day. So basically, if you wanted to do this as all individual variables, you could. I'm lazy, so I'm just leaving it as an execute code. It does the same function. So you can see here I've got the same thing set up with the same variables attached. Then I've got my array blend mode count, which is just, again, how it functions with the blend shifting. And then further down, I've got my next line of execute code, which is the larger of the two sets. Then I've got my two arrays for managing this newer, or this larger set. And then under there, I've got some new code. This is to make everyone's lives a bit easier when playing with these blend modes. So these values link back into the circles on screen, and you can modify the colors. So basically, you can actually play with the different interactions of colors there. It uses RGB, pretty stock standard, load up paint or whatever you guys use, and you should be able to work out what colors you want to test with, so that's in there. So the thing you'll see that's different though from my original is I had a create, a step, and a draw. Because drag and drop works differently, step events I can't then embed things like an action like press a key. So I have to actually break it out to a different set of functions. So we'll look at these first, and then we'll look at the draw event. So if I go to key press 0, so this is where I've tried to do as much drag and drop to show you guys how to do it as possible. So in here, very simple, it's just a blend changer, is less than 1, adds. If it exceeds 1, jumps back to 0, and I've got relative ticked to make sure I add to it. In variable 1, it's going to be nope, this is one of the more complex ones. Excellent. So the first step we do is we actually check to see if our changer is equal to 0. Then if it is equal to 0, we use this block of code here, which basically cycles through. So there's nothing fancy here. The cycle through value is looking at the total. And if I wanted to be super fancy, I could say get array length if I really wanted to, but it's not worth the hassle. So basically, I look at the array and I cycle it. The next part to this if, so if we follow it down, is a second one, which I could use a else in here, but I want to just try to replicate the code as close as I can. So basically the blend mode 1, if that's selected, it goes through the same cycle, but it looks at the opposite value set. So this looks at the larger array set. So this basically says 10 or less than 10, cycle through at. So that's one button function for the larger one. So this all operates pretty much the same. So if I go to button 4, so because button 4 is apparently used, sorry, I want button 5. I'm looking at my keyboard while I'm saying this. Button 5, okay, excellent. So you'll see here button 5 and button 2 will only have the function for the second part of this script. And the reason for that is button 2 and 5 isn't used in the first set, so I only need a program for the second set of program functions for the cycling of the array. So here you'll see basically blend mode changer is equal to 1, run blend function, pretty much. Okay, now time to get a headache. So this was most likely the biggest nightmare doing this part here. So this is the draw function, and I've tried to convert as much of it as I can without losing my sanity into basically drag and drop language. I did most of this last night, not this morning. I done touch-ups and bug checks this morning. So, first step, I couldn't work out how to draw set function target, surface set target. Couldn't work out how to do it, had to cheat. Draw set clear alpha does work, it is in here. But I never bothered using it because if I'm already doing this and I don't want to have to make a million inverts basically and ignore my poor commenting there. I like to yell at myself. So here, basically we draw set target, which is our blend that we do in our surfacing. That's what I've described in the other video. I draw a circle. The circle then has its colors embedded. And it's based in X, Y, so wherever I place the object is where it places. Resets surface, so that then clears the surface for the next step of drawing. And then I do my second surface, which is my active surface, the surface that has my object on it that moves, which again has my draw here. Now, again, these circles can be done within here, I am 90% sure. Because I have seen a circle function, and I'm pretty sure it's going to carry color functionality. Otherwise, you should be able to drop color onto it. I reset the surface again, plain and simple. Let's move to the next part. Now, I will also say this will all be on the Google Drive, so feel free to go and pillage it as much as you want. So if statement, so if is equal to 0, this is where it uses the simpler blend mode. So this is the blend mode here. And you can see it references my array 1, which is just the simple blends, and then it's just the array 1 count. Oh, there we go. The next part is the else. So if it's not my simple changer, it will look at the more complex one. And if I drag this out, you can see how long that is. So basically this compares two different arrays to then set our blend modes. The next part to this is another if statement, which this is now where I can kind of show you some of the functionality that you can do. So even though I'm using these execute codes, which I see as cheating, you can still reference programming in these in other components in drag and drop. Like these variables for surface existing. So I had to really rack my brain. And I totally forgot that it literally is a read of, I'm pretty sure it's -0 or above. So I can basically say greater than 0 should be fine. If it reads greater than 0, it means it exists. If it doesn't read greater than 0, it doesn't exist, and it has to create itself. So basically, if it's greater than 0, I draw a surface. Else, if it's not greater than 0, and again, this is something else I wanted to show you guys, I can assign a variable. and then I can draw the function inside the variable there, which then gives it a surface in the next check. Same thing happens again for surface 2. Oh, sorry, surface 1, and that's surface 0 if we want to be super specific. Same principle, nothing's changed there. Once that's executed, we run to the next step, which is we set our blend mode to normal, which is important because then we can see our text. And then basically, blend mode changer, this then draws the blend modes. So if the blend mode changer is basically 0 or simple mode, we see the simple text, and then if it's set to the more advanced mode with 2 sets, we then get blend mode used. And basically here in our variable, super important, because this is all a string, I can do this and add 2 strings plus a string inside a string. Okay, that concludes today's tutorial. See what I mean? Painful. But thank you for the comments, very much appreciated. Thank you for all the subscribers, very much appreciated. And I should hopefully have another video tomorrow around some soundscaping stuff I was playing with. So, I will talk to you guys next time. A big thank you to you all, and I will see you guys later.